gone to DPS mainly, and they weren't on our rolls. They hadn't come over from DPS. And DPS works really, really well with us, but we have to notify them, and they check each record to make sure that, yes, that person did actually register, because some of them will say, I registered on this date, but some of them come in and they really don't know when. Oh, it was sometime in the spring. So there's going to be a lot of people that are going to do still a lot of research. But we're going through the write-ins. You saw we had 3 races that had a write-in. But again, we have to go through and look at every one of those write-ins and make our own little spreadsheet. And that takes time. So we do have probably a week of really digging down into this. And everybody's waiting for reports, the campaigns to be over. What we would love to do, and if you have time in your reports, is if you would please ask the campaigns to go around and take down their signs, because that will be most of our phone calls next week. Because candidates have fought the good fight, and they're tired. So sometimes they don't go back and check the signs. We have some marvelous teachers, our teachers here, that the signs aren't picked up. So we don't pick them up. The art teachers go because they like that four plastic or whatever the signs are, and they use it for their classes. So we thought that was pretty smart. But I think you can really help if you would just remind them, and remind your viewers and your listeners that if there's a sign that you've seen them, you've all seen them, where some of them are impeding a corner or line of sight, I think is what they call them, we would like those all taken down by the candidates. But congratulations to you all. Congratulations to my fantastic staff and to our election officials. I hope they're all sleeping in this morning. But it was a good day. Any questions?
Yes, ma'am. You had mentioned earlier this year that November was going to be your final election. What are your thoughts? Are you still planning to hold up to that, and what are your thoughts as you depart?
Again, it's bittersweet, but I don't know anything about the process to have me replaced. They talked about they were going to get a national search. As of last week, that had not started. So, but again, we're not looking down that highway yet because, as I said, we still have a pretty big mountain to cover. Just stop and think how many payrolls we have sitting in boxes so that we can get our voters, our judges and our clerks, transportation company. There's just so much paperwork that comes into view, and reports to the Secretary of State's office till we closed it out. And I was crushed. The report says November 6th. Does not say November 5th. But it's 100% complete. Okay?
Can you repeat one more time? Just one here. One more time. How much is the percent of the voters?
For this one, it was 58.7. Which
Was that record breaking?
No. Again, it's a misnomer because we have many more people registered to vote than we had the last time. So while we still have, like on this election, we had a total of 759,000, right? In 2020, we had a total of 773,000. So the number of people that came out was more in 2020, and the percentage, because of the lower registration, was 65.8%. And we had similar numbers, but because our registration has grown so much, our actual percentage dropped. And so again, we closed out with 58.7, plus we're going to add to that. Not much, but we will add to that. We still have mail ballots. You heard me say provisional ballots. And we have the late mail. We are anxiously awaiting to have our delivery today because the law allows us to count the ballots that are delivered today. if they were put in the mail yesterday by 7 o'clock last night. So we're waiting to see what that workload will be.
I have spoken with several voters who say they asked for mail-in ballot and they never got it. Could that contribute to the lower voter turnout percentage because maybe a lot of those people didn't?
Again, we don't know. I mean, we track our ballots from the time we get the application.
Can you be closer to the microphone, please?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
The way we do the mail ballots, when the applications come in, we scan them. And we have to clip the signature. I'm not sure what the technical term is, but we have to capture that signature. It goes in the date we got the application. Then when we accept the application, that means we've processed it. It's a voter, they've given us these identifiable numbers. That date's in there. Then it's the date we mailed the ballot to them. It's in there. So we can track all of this. We have not run the numbers for who hasn't come back because we're not finished with that yet. We still have, like today, and then we have late military. The military ballots get until next Tuesday to come in. So we will be able to run a report like that. We have a huge number yesterday of people who walked in to vote in person, but they already had a mail ballot sent to them, or they had it in their hand. And our staff was doing that all day. If someone had the ballot in their hand to return, said, I want to make sure I get to vote, they would relinquish that. We would cancel that ballot, remove the code for a mail ballot, and then they voted in person. But some people just didn't bring it to the polls, but they decided they wanted to vote, which is really, really terrific. If they came to the polls without their actual mail ballot, then the process slowed down a little bit because they had to call here to make sure that we weren't processing their mail ballot. Our checks and balances obviously make sure that it's one vote for one person. And that's how the system is set up. So we won't see those numbers for a while.
Have there been any issues? Have there been any issues or threats in getting, right over here? Any issues or threats in getting the,
Oh, sorry.
no, it's okay, in getting the vote totals delivered?
Here, no. We had two, you know, everybody uses that word glitches, which made us late last night. We had one site, Ball Elementary, that when the officials closed up, they didn't follow the closing procedures. And so they didn't, we refer to it as harvesting the votes. They didn't end that program. And we had no details from that site. And when we have to enter a site, it's very, very, I don't want to say it's complicated, but everybody has to understand how secure it is. Ball Elementary is an ISD. So we have to contact our sheriffs who take our staff member, our technician. We have to contact their ISD to get their Department of Police Department. And they have to meet up at that site, go into the building, and set it all back up so that they can open the equipment and then harvest the votes and lock everything back up. And they stay with them the whole time, and then the sheriffs follow them back here. And we had to go to Ball, and we had to go to Copernicus last night, which again delayed the results.
In regards to the presidential election, it looked like we were looking at some stats that Bexar County was, you know, very much red when it came to voting for the president, compared to like Harris or Travis, you know, that was more blue. Would you be able to note, you know, demographics-wise, like what that means for Bexar County? Anything that you would be able to comment on?
I would love to, but there are people that are a lot wiser, and they run the stats. The consultants do. We try and keep it just as nonpartisan as we possibly can. So I would like to answer you, but we don't have that. We don't track our voters by Republican or Democrat. When they register to vote, they do not have to pick a party. We're one of the few states that have open primaries so that the voter at each primary can choose what party they want. They're not locked into one. So we don't have that information so that we can run it. But like I said, there's some great consultants out there that don't do it. So if you find them, you'll be set.
Will the mail-in results change anything? Could they change anything?
We don't have any close races. That was the one thing we checked very carefully before we go home and try and get some sleep. And there's no tight races. And so, we could get 1,000 more votes in. We could get 300 in. Everything, it's a waiting game right now. Okay, but again,
Is this
It's
your
great.
last election?
that's what I hear.
What are you gonna do?
Well, yes, this is my last one.
So what are you gonna do?
For right now, I'm gonna sleep. No, it will be wonderful. There's a whole future out there for me, and I'm looking forward to it. Thank you very much. Thanks for sticking with us, and I'm sure we'll do one more time once we get some more granular final results. Okay?
Guys, I just want to say thank you from me, Donna Parker, and Angela Virgo, whom I don't see, my partner, for turning out, for being great media partners for us. And if you'd go back and pass that along to everybody. But I will tell you that all we are is a conduit. This woman right here has been the most humble, giving person. She shows up faithfully for every press conference. Believe me, I've worked with a lot of clients who dodged the bullet, so to speak. And she's been here every step of the way, and I'd like to ask if you can show your appreciation for her.
Thank you. This one's been with me for years. I've been blessed to have she and what did we say, 10 years, 12 years?
2008.
2008.
She called me outside
And
of
then-
TJ Maxx and said, will you do this? And I said, yes, sir. And